everybody. Welcome. Today we have a very special guest with us, somebody who's very near and dear to my heart. We've been working together for the last few months, but we've known each other for a very long time. And she is here with us to share her very moving and empowering story of, you know, going through some struggles like many of us have and overcoming them and just making herself a priority and really taking control of her health and her happiness and the transformation that's happened for her. And she's just so inspiring, and I know you're going to love her. So Shannon, thank you for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Wonderful. So, you know, I would love for you, we're just going to have a nice candid conversation, and I would just love for you to maybe just share about where you were in your life, you know, before we had started speaking and working together, and just kind of how you were feeling and what you were going through, and just, you know, what your big struggles were and stresses were around your health and your well-being. If you don't mind to share a little bit of that with us, please.
Yeah. So I'm a senior financial analyst with a Fortune 500 company. So I had and have a super demanding day job, as well as running a side business from home. So that left me with little time for myself, for my family, and it definitely took a toll on my health because of it was stressful. It was stressful, but I come from very much that competitive background and just go. But I finally learned where my wall was, because I hit it head on, and I just felt like helpless, like nothing I knew to do to help me with weight loss was working. It was actually going the opposite way. I was gaining weight, which I learned through Taylor, how we hang on to stress and things like that in our bodies. And I just felt yucky. Like I am a light and bright and happy, bubbly person. And I felt like that piece of me was gone. So that put my mindset was crappy. My eating was crappy. Like the whole thing was just yuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so many of us can identify with that and have been there, just that sense of, you know, got to keep working, you know, keep smiling, taking more and more on, right, and putting yourself further and further on the back burner. So, you know, just with the stress of work, and you have a family at home, and how did you find when you were saying like you were just feeling like yucky and not yourself and you were gaining weight? How did you find that was affecting, you know, your relationships with your family, your relationship with yourself? I feel like it often snowballs and has such a, you know, quick trajectory to really, you know, hold you in a negative place. How was that for you?
I was definitely very snippy, very quick to take a jab. Whereas normally I would be like, oh, whatever, not a big deal, kind of roll your eyes and keep it moving kind of thing. I would just pounce, like, because I was just so short-tempered, and it was almost like I was eager to fight. Like I was just mad. I was in this negative headspace all the time, and it's dark and lonely there. Like nobody wants to be there. If the kids were doing something, little things would drive me nuts, where looking back, like really they were not a big deal.
Yeah, and it's hard too, because when you're stuck in a place of chronic stress and not taking care of yourself, I feel like it often comes from a good-hearted place, right? You're trying to work so hard. You have your side business because you want to be successful and be able to provide for your family and be able, you know, to achieve certain goals that you have for yourself and for them. That, you know, the intention of good is there, but when you get too caught up in that state, it often, you know, the opposite happens, right? You find yourself distancing yourself, and like you said, being so snippy. So, you know, you had mentioned that your weight started to become an issue as well. And, you know, weight and stress are so so closely linked, especially with us as women, and it affecting, stress affecting our hormones, and gaining weight and poor sleep, and poor focus. What were you struggling with your weight, and what were you trying to do to overcome that was challenging?
So I had done, in the past, I had done programs like Weight Watchers because I liked those, because you kind of get to eat what you want, but stay within the parameters that they give you. But even that was no longer working. And then I was like, okay, I'm just eating, pretending I'm a doctor now. I'm just eating too many calories. So let me cut calories. Well, that was a very bad idea, because then I just gained like double time, because my body's like, oh no, she's starving us. We're going to hang on to everything. And because I was in that negative headspace, I wasn't exercising. I didn't feel motivated to exercise. Whereas I used to love dancing and doing Zumba and things like that. And I was just like, that doesn't even bring me joy anymore. So it's just like super yucky.
Yeah. And, I hear that so much. So even programs like Weight Watchers, what did you find didn't work for you? Was it the fact that there's little accountability or like, just the ordeal of having to keep a tally of points? What was it that just you found was ineffective for you in the long run?
So I had done Weight Watchers, what I'll say successfully, maybe like 2 years ago. And then I was like, okay, and then I went off it, like stopped paying the online fee, whatever it was. Cause I'm like, I can do this myself. And I did okay, but it was almost like a short-term fix, because I started gaining weight again. And I'm like, well, let me try it. And when I went back and tried it again, even though I was holding myself accountable and being within the point range they gave me, my body was just like, they didn't care. It's like, you're still eating not great food. So my body wasn't releasing it. And on top of the stress, so that hanging on to everything, it wasn't working. Like I felt like I was doing everything I was told and what I was supposed to, and it still wasn't working. So that left me feeling like helpless and just defeated. And that is not a feeling I like.
No, absolutely not. And that's something sadly so many of us have endured throughout our lives with these types of diets where, yeah, it's fine for the short term, but for a long-term, sustainable, healthy way to live, it often doesn't work. In fact, like you said, more than 80% of people that lose weight on programs like Weight Watchers or keto or things like that, not only gain it back, but gain back more than where they had started from. And it just leads to this kind of landslide of feeling like, you failed, all these feelings of shame come up, and, it's just, you're so successful in so many other areas of your life. You know what I mean? You have this wonderful career, you have a beautiful family, you have a beautiful home. And it's just like, why can't you get control of, your health, like you said, and it becomes, just a really frustrating, dark, lonely place to be. Thank you so much for sharing about that. I think so many of us can identify with that. So, before we had spoken, what was it that, what was the turning point for you in your life when you decided, like, I've got to nip this in the butt. I'm going to take care of myself. What was that, kind of turning point?
For me, it was actually my husband. So we have a very open line of communication, a very open and honest line of communication. And he just brought to my attention probably everything I already knew, but was just stuffing down. But he was like, you're miserable. Like, you're not happy. Doing my side business stuff used to bring me joy because I was helping women. That wasn't even bringing me joy anymore. It became like just another thing to do. And I would like throw it in his face almost like, well, I'm so busy, so why can't you do this and that? And like, that's not a supportive spouse. Like, I should not have been like that. So he kind of brought it to my attention, and then I sat on it. I'm pretty sure I probably reacted not so good when he first said it. But after sitting on it and really thinking, like, I have put myself last for a very long time. And now all three of the kids are out of the house. And it was just, it was almost like the stars aligned, and like it was a perfect time for me to take the reins back and be like, it is okay to take care of yourself. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't be a good mom, you can't be a good partner, a good employee, a good sister, a good anything, unless you take care of yourself first. Because again, if I was in that negative mind space all the time, here's my husband like begging me, like, something needs to change, like we need a shift, because like this is going down an ugly road. And it took him bringing that to my attention for me to actually think about doing something.
Wow. And I mean, that's so true, right? It's when you don't take care of yourself, and it's almost, I see a lot of these kind of conflicting feelings of worthiness, right? It's like, you put yourself on the back burner in the effort to try to take care of everybody else. It almost feels like you need to give yourself permission. And it sounds like that's what your husband was able to give you. Like, listen, Shannon, you need to like step up and take the reins, because it's not about the weight. It's not about, the stress. It's about like the holistic picture of it all, and how when you don't take care of your own health and your own happiness, how it shows up in so many different facets of your life, from being snippy with your partner, or frustrated with your kids, or losing joy in your, in what used to bring you great pleasure to be helpful and, have a sense of community and empower women, and, just everything that you do. It just kind of takes everything down to that lower levels, and then you start to feel like resentful and angry, and all of those feelings, fuel, a further decline in your health. So, thank goodness that the two of you were able to have a conversation like that, and you were able to, give yourself the permission you needed to move forward. So, what was your headspace, the first time you and I spoke, when we had that wonderful breakthrough session together? What were you looking for? What goals did you have for our conversation?
So part of my headspace was, she's going to tell me to eat all vegetables, and this is just not going to work for me. Honestly, what I thought. I was like, this is not going to work for me. Because, and as a matter of fact, I shared with Taylor I eat chips and dip every day. And I shared that before signing up, before doing anything. And she's like, we will find something that's 80% healthier, and you're going to love it. And I eat that every day. It's so
yeah.
good.
And it's, shifting your mindset too. There are no good foods and bad foods. It's just, it's a lot of eating for people isn't about like eating diet foods. It's about breaking up with that, idea that you have in your head about like this kind of like regimented way of eating that so many of us have. So yeah, go ahead, please continue.
So my main goal was weight loss. And then I guess a secondary goal was to have that mindset shift of allowing myself to do this program and feel worthy of it, and feel the love and happiness that I deserve, and feel it for myself, because I'll give all of myself to everyone, but I didn't leave myself with anything. So I really wanted to get back to that place of self-love, just from previous traumas in my life that was like gone. And this program really did help me. I lost 16 pounds, so that was great. But I gained so much more knowledge, and just that, I think my biggest success with the program, I think, was just allowing myself to feel the feelings, that which I didn't understand, how eating differently makes all these feelings come up. You can ask Taylor how many times I've cried on the phone with her. It's like, it's insane. But just allow myself to feel all the feels and release them. Like they no longer serve me, and to just let go of them, and just learning all of this mind, body, soul, food, everything, like all in one package, was more empowering than I ever could have imagined when I first began. the program.
Wow. Thank you for your kind words. And it's been, such a pleasure to guide you through this process and really see you commit so fully and beautifully to yourself this whole time, and all of the wonderful successes that you've had. So what did you feel like, when you were going to join, and we decided that it was a great fit to work with one another? Did you have any hesitations based on, other old things that you've tried that you were like maybe a little bit worried about? You mentioned like you were concerned that you were just going to eat vegetables. Like, did you have any, we often, when we come to a point of making major life change or deciding to commit to ourselves, a lot of those fears start creeping into our heads. What did that look like for you?
I definitely thought I was going to have the diet of a rabbit. And I instantly was like, oh, this is not going to work. And then I went back to that. Well, I did Weight Watchers and then that no longer worked. So I'm like, this isn't going to work. I didn't even give it a chance before I was like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I was almost setting myself up for a failure at that point with the way I was thinking. And I honestly just thought like, oh, this is going to be a lot of work and it's going to be awful and I'm not going to enjoy it. And I am proud to say that I was very wrong with that.
Oh, well, I'm so happy to hear that. And I think that's so much too. I think, with diet culture, it comes from this very restrictive mindset, right? And we've had to work on switching, flipping that script and coming from a place of abundance. And, I feel like so many of us are pressured, like you have to go to the gym for hours a day, or like you said, you just like only eat salad all day, or, you have to log in the points or the calories, or you have to sit like in the Himalayas by yourself, and meditate for hours, and these are the ways that you achieve greater well-being. And it's not true. There's so many different practical and proven ways that you can elevate your health and your happiness that suit your schedule. Because how many hours a week do you work, Shan?
Oh, on a good week is like 60. A bad week could be like 75, 80.
And that's not even taking into account, your side business that you've been running for years that I know that you've, been so involved with, and then the responsibilities with family and, everything that you have, all of your social obligations. So if you can, fit major lifestyle change into that schedule, it's incredible, right? So talk to me a little bit about, if you will, like you mentioned, you lost 16 pounds. I know you're feeling great. You're lighter. You're feeling happier. What surprised you most that you gained, in investing in yourself and, giving yourself permission to take care of yourself? What was your biggest win, would you say?
I think my biggest win was truly reconnecting with myself. Again, with previous traumas that had happened in my life, I thought I dealt with them. Clearly didn't. But I think I truly released them, and allowing myself to be vulnerable and share with our small little group that did this program at the same time. Allowing myself to be vulnerable, I think, helped me grow leaps and bounds as far as just my journey with my more positive mind space, headspace. And like, I feel more like myself, like my version of myself in my head. I feel like I am that girl again, and I love it. I'm amazing. Happy to be back.
Well, that's great. So tell me, what does life look like now? Is happy old Shannon, who, your smile is so bright and you're glowing. Like, walk me what the picture looks like now.
Well, I love unicorns and rainbows. Like, look, I really have a little unicorn by my desk. Like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders, whereas even though I was the one putting all these bricks on my shoulders myself, it wasn't like someone else was throwing stuff at me. I was doing it to myself. I just, one brick at a time, was like, nope, nope. And I'm happier. I sleep better. I try, most days I'm pretty good, to just do some deep breathing when work tries to really get at me. And try and see more of the positive in situations. So, and eating better and truly enjoying the food. I did not think that was going to happen either. I was like, oh, I'm not going to enjoy eating a salad all the time. And I'm not eating salads all the time, just to be clear. But it, like, I wasn't eating a lot of vegetables, period. I'd have some and be like, oh, I did good today. Like, I had a serving. And just my body itself feels, it's like thanking me. So that's a big win too. Like, to not have the bloating and the just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can button my pants because I'm so puffy from just eating a million carbs or whatever. So yeah, I feel lighter, just like more carefree. And I haven't been carefree in a long time.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing, and so inspiring. And it's been like truly such a pleasure and an honor to help kind of walk you through to, you know, meet that part of yourself again and learn ways that you can take better care of yourself. And in doing so, you know, you're so much happier, like you said, but how does that snowball into like your relationship with your husband, like you said, who's the one who brought to your attention, like, hey, you've not been yourself, you know, or even your relationship, you know, with your coworkers and your colleagues, you know, how has, by taking care of yourself and prioritizing yourself, how has that rippled out into the world of those around you?
People have definitely taken notice, because I always had that nurturing, I put off that nurturing vibe. That's always been there. So people would typically come to me to vent or talk about things. And that's one thing I have to be careful about now, because it's almost like they're attracted, because it's like happiness, yay. So they're attracted to that. But I have to almost guard myself, because there's a lot of negative people that'll try and suck that positivity right on out of you. Call them energy vampires. But you just, I noticed, I'm specifically talking about work, like people just gravitating more to me, and almost like I'm helping them flip their script. Like, well, is it really that bad? Like, you know, we all can say and know, like, someone always has it worse than us, but then it's like, it's almost like we don't care and we're still going to be mad about whatever we're mad about. So, and just at home, Tom, like, our relationship is more like we're I don't want to say we're stupid, but we're just like, we're jokers. Like, we just laugh a lot. Like, we're laughing a lot more. So it's just lighter, a lot lighter.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I'm so happy for you, and you've worked hard for this. You know, it's really, it's a simple process, but you really need to commit, and you were really all in, feet first, showing up for yourself, and it's beautiful to see your transformation.
Thank you.
Well, and thank you for joining today to share your story with others. I think it's, you know, so empowering when we, you know, as women are able to lift one another up and show each other what's possible. If you just, you know, change from, you know, living in a place of survival to, you know, a place of thriving and giving yourself that permission. So thank you so much for sharing. I know it's going to inspire so many women to just love themselves more and take care of themselves better.
Awesome. I'm happy to do it.
All right.